Good day. My name is John Carly Iboala and I am 21 years old. I am currently residing in San Mateo, Rizal. And I am currently a criminology intern in the Our Lady of Fatima University, Quezon City campus. And I am currently serving as a fire volunteer in the Bureau of Fire Protection in the Public Information Unit under the Community Relations Unit. I am as well a part of the fire truck crew in the Bureau of Fire Protection as in the shift B. And I am a former Rover Circle leader in the Rover Scouts of the Philippines, which is the Circle 17, as well as being a former senior crew leader in the Boy Scouts of the Philippines under the Unit 007. I am as well a former part of the Red Cross Philippines as a first aider in Marikina City chapter. Okay, so what I have learned during the BFP deployment is when you are responding to a fire scene. Okay, so what I'm going to discuss first is the ICS, as what they call it, or it is usually known as the Incident Command System, which is there's a certain command that is established that the firefighters on scene which are going to follow, and then it is usually led by either the fire chief or the battalion commander or the battalion chief, as they call it in the fire department. And next is the firefighting operations. So there are three types of attacks, what they call it, which is the defensive and the offensive attack, and then the mixed type, which is the defensive and the offensive attack. So the defensive attack is where you usually see the firefighters outside the fire scene, which they are pumping water out of the nozzle from outside the fire scene. And the offensive attack is where the firefighters go inside residence so that they can extinguish the origin of fire. So the next one is the pump operations. So what is pump operations? So pump operations is where they usually place the fire hoses, set the pressure on the hose, because there is usually a 5 pressure decrease per extent of fire hose per 50 meters, and that is where you set the pressure on the fire truck itself on the overlay. And the next is the ventilation process. What is the ventilation process? The ventilation process is where you usually make a hole or a exit for the smoke to come out, so that the heat inside the fire scene will be decreased. And there are two types of ventilation processes, which is the horizontal ventilation and then the vertical ventilation. So the horizontal ventilation is where you usually break either glass, doors, for examples, and then the vertical ventilation is where you make a hole on the roof so that the smoke can come out or can get an exit. So the next is the overhauling. So the overhauling is what we usually do after the fire is already out. We pump and then we extinguish fires like embers, small embers, so that we can assure that there's not going to be any secondary fires that can possibly happen or can potentially happen. And then the next one is the rescue operations. So usually when you arrive in a fire scene, the most priority or the most goal to do is save lives. So it was discussed during our BFP deployment that it is the topmost priority to do when you arrive to the fire scene. Check for any casualties and save lives, and then rescue them in case. So I have as well learned different techniques in the field of emergency medical response. So I have learned as well different types of bandaging, and usually basic life support, which is usually through first aids and patients, or victims rather, and we do usually use spine boards, and then neck collars, as what we call it, and then pharmacology was merely discussed during the deployment. I have learned as well that, such as the NPA, the OPA, or the oropharyngeal and the nasal pharyngeal, which is a different type of equipment that is used for airways in case there's a blocking to the airway, and there's still different types of EMS which I have learned, which is so let me just skip that for now. I have learned as well in the basic rescue operations is the different rappels from the SRF, which is the Special Rescue Force, which before is also known called as the Special Rescue Unit of the Bureau of Fire Protection. So I'm going to discuss what I have learned from the webinars that I attended. So I will be going to discuss the local webinar that I have just attended, which is about the Republic Act 8749, which is the Clean Air Act of the Philippines, and the Republic Act 9003, which is the Solid Waste Management Act of the Philippines. So these two laws are actually related to each other. So about the Republic Act 9003, it was discussed by a public servant in the Department of Environmental and Natural Resources. So actually he explained that there's actually a facility per barangay where our garbage or our waste are being collected, and they are being properly segregated to each other, which is from the biodegradable, non-biodegradable, and the recyclable. So I was given awareness to that because I was not aware of that at all before, but now I have learned. And then the 3 R's, which is the recycle, the reduce, reduce, and recycle was explained again because this is being usually discussed to primary schools, high schools, and it was just discussing it to us. And I have also learned with that kaingin as to what it is being called here in the Philippines, which is the burning of crops, used crops rather, in provincial areas, which is they usually think that it is more efficient and more easier to clean their foods. So it is actually prohibited by law, which is the Republic Act 8749 or the Clean Air Act of the Philippines, because this actually affects our ozone layer in terms of the greenhouse gases that is produced by this. So in the solid waste ecological management, I just like to add that it is said that our colonies are being affected by this, or it is called as the coral bleaching, which I have learned as well that most of our air here in the world is usually produced by our seas or oceans and not our trees. So we actually have to protect, and we actually have to change our perspectives in terms of saving our nature. Okay, so I would like to discuss what I have experienced from our virtual deployment or the pre-immersion phase. So I have experienced that during our morning release, which is our Praticum coordinator, Mr. Ray Villanueva, have experienced to us. So it is usually a physical exercise of the military dozen that is being done by our dear law enforcers, military personnel. So that is what we usually do, and I would like to give thanks to our Praticum coordinator for letting us experience this kind of activity, even though we are currently deployed in a virtual setting. So another exposure or another experience that I would like to share is the severity of the learning that we are currently experiencing. So because we usually know that it is more better from the face-to-face classes instead of virtual deployments, because some of us are efficient learners by hearing and by virtual. And apparently, it is more recommendable, in my opinion, that an instructor being in front of you is more better than seeing the instructor on a device. Because for me, it is quite more efficient for the face-to-face classes. So another one is, even though that we are currently in a virtual setting, our instructors did not let us feel that we are currently far away from them. I feel that we are like just seeing each other personally, because our instructors do what they usually do before when we were in a physical face-to-face setting. And I have learned various learning or knowledge from them from this virtual deployment, and I would like to give thanks to all.